me, Camila Rose, and I'm back. We are here for week 13 update of 185 Insane, which means I'm also at the halfway point, and we get to finish out our stats for the second quarter. So hi, I'm Camila Rose. If you didn't know, I'm doing the 185 Insane. I'm doing the author version, so I have a lot of different tasks and things that I'm looking at that have to do with writing books, finishing books, editing books, publishing books, all the things. Anything that has to do with writing, it's a part of my 185 Insane challenge. So let's talk about the numbers for the week of the 13th. So on the 13th, when it came to editing, I'm supposed to be editing and finishing up my Venus Intensive. I really wanted to get that out by fall equinox, but that was definitely not going to happen, especially once I actually sat down and started working with the text. I printed it out and it was so helpful. I just now today finished going through my first edit of the complete text, and with it being printed, like I could see everything. I figured out where stuff didn't make sense and needed to be moved, what needed to be expanded upon. So I'm feeling really good about that. My goal is to have edits done over the next 2 weeks, adding it in, and then adding everything in next week, printing it out again the week after, going through it that week after, making any additional edits, and then going to look at publication. So we are on track with that, feeling good about it. This is week 14 that I'm recording this, and I actually finished everything this week. So I'm feeling really good about my progress there. I edited the Venus Intensive every day last week for week 13, so I'm at 7 out of 7. For my writing, I'm supposed to be writing 1K a day. I have several different projects that I'm working on. I have a short story, I have a novella, I have a news story that I'm gonna at some point work on, and then of course I'm editing, so there's some words going down there. For week 13, I only did 5 out of 7 days. And although I only did 5 out of 7 days, because on some of those days I wrote so much, I actually ended up still meeting my goal. So for week 13, for my HP project, I wrote 520 on Sunday, 850 on Monday, 1 word on Tuesday. That's because I finished it. I finished the book, or everything I wanted to get done on that first section of the HP, which I think is going to end up being several short stories put together. And then I wrote another 579 words on Friday, and then 523 words on Saturday. For the AM project, I wrote 738 on Sunday, 741 on Monday, 1,061 on Tuesday, 1,179 on Wednesday, and 1,023 on Thursday. So for the HP, I ended up writing a total of 2,473. For the EM, I ended up writing 4,740 for a total of 7,213 words, which takes me to 103% for my goal, which is 7K a week. So although I didn't write 1,000 words on Friday or Saturday, because I wrote so much throughout the week already, by the time I got to Friday and Saturday, I was okay. Now, what I will say is that as I was heading into the weekend, I was getting closer to a big event that I had coming up. Saturdays, as I have mentioned many times, are my busiest day. I get up at around 5:30 to go for a run. I teach yoga at 10 o'clock, so I have to leave around 9:30. Then I have to head over to read tarot from 12:30 to 5 or 6 o'clock. And then I usually have the afternoon or the evening to actually get some other stuff done, maybe some writing if I didn't get to it, if it was a particularly busy day reading tarot. This weekend, because I was preparing for an event that I had on Sunday, once I got done with reading tarot, I went to go purchase some things for that, and then I went to hang out with a friend after that. So my Saturday was super duper busy, and that Friday I was feeling kind of burnt out. I was also prepping. Again, I just needed some rest. I needed some time. I've been really recognizing that I need a little bit more rest and a little bit more time. I have a fourth maybe. The first novel that I completed, which is working titled The Night Ritual. I'm still editing that, but that has kind of gone on back burner so I can get this Venus Intensive done and get the words down for the other things that I'm working on. So I haven't done any editing for The Night Ritual. I didn't do any of that. I only edited it once in this entire month regardless of the week. And that was very early on in September. So that was my writing update for week 13. For professional, I'm supposed to post 3 pieces of content every day. I only did that 6 out of the 7 days. I did not make it on Saturday. I'm telling y'all, Saturday was rough. And then when I do my week 14, Sunday, lost cause, y'all. Because it was just so super busy on Sunday. For the weightlifting, I do 3 out of 4 days. I did my 3 days I did my 4 miles, 5 days, did my 5 days. Week 13 was run 6 minutes, walk 1. And so that I was a little concerned with. I was a little concerned that I was going to be okay, but it actually ended up being fine. And I realized that I'm psyching myself out with this. I'm really like mentally up here telling myself how difficult it's going to be or whatever I tell myself. And then every time it is fine. So I am really working on rewiring my brain around that. Then for my Stanleys, I did meet my Stanley goal, 7 days, 7 out of 7 days, vitamins, 7 out of 7. No yoga this week. I did my running 4 days out of 4 that I'm supposed to do. I did my tuning forks, 7 out of 7. No socials before 9, I met that, 7 out of 7. No socials after 9, I met that, 7 out of 7. Read 30 minutes, I met that, 7 out of 7. So overall, I did pretty good. It is tracking that what I struggle with the most is when I have a really busy work schedule, then I fall off when it comes to my writing or when it comes to my editing. So that is something that I'm mindful and aware of. And so that's my week 13 update. Let's get into the second quarter. So some of the big differences that I made in the second quarter was that I was able to better differentiate and pull apart what goals I was actually wanting to track, what they needed to look like, what my numbers needed to be. So in the first quarter, I only had writing 1K, I had my post 3 pieces of content, I had my take a long walk, no socials before 9, no socials after 9, and then reading. I had 7 goals for the first quarter. So then I started to figure out that in order to actually be more accurate and to track things, I needed to pull stuff further apart. So I divided it up into a writing goals system. I have the Venus Intensive and the edits or the words that I'm putting down there. I have the HP, the EM, and the third one that I'm working on, which I feel like I need to start to divide those out a little bit more, but I do have on my tracker, I can see how many words I wrote per work. I have my editing for the night ritual, and so that's my third category, but I think I actually need this to be 5 categories: Venus Intensive, HP, EM, and then my third one that I'm working on, night ritual. And I need to figure out, because the words don't necessarily mean as much. Not that they're not important, but getting words down while I'm editing the Venus Intensive, it's not quite the same for when I am back on my computer this week, adding in and editing and doing that. I will track that, but I think I will count it towards, but I'm not going to be too hard on myself about it. Count it towards my 1K a day. When it comes to my second quarter, for writing 1K a day, for the first quarter, I had a total of 6,608 words for the entire quarter. And my goal for the week was 7K for a percentage of 15% towards my goal. That was first quarter. By the second quarter, my total for writing was 54,055 words out of 49,000. So I met my goal at 110% maybe. I did really great. So that is a huge improvement. Even in the first week 7, I did 7,283 words. I already beat my first quarter in just the first week of the second quarter. And you can see, hopefully I'm putting this up there, but you can see the difference between when I started to pay attention, which was week 5 on the first quarter, and then like what happened in the second quarter. Just paying attention, being mindful, and staying on track really made such a huge difference when it came to my writing and meeting my writing goals and making advancement towards actually finishing and completing what it is that I desire to do. For professional, post 3 pieces of content. In the first quarter, I did 42%. I did a total of 37 out of 42, so 88%. In the second quarter, I did 45 out of 49 for 91%, so I went up a nice little bit there. It was a lot easier for me to get the posting done, so I have a new goal. If I'm at 91%, I'd like to meet about 95% for the third quarter for posting my content 3 times a day. Whether I will actually do that, we shall see, because I haven't been doing the greatest with my content. I've already missed a day, and I got to make sure I get enough done today to make sure that I meet that goal. I also added in the second quarter, work at least 2 hours a day every day, because I was really into taking off days. I just didn't have the consistency, and I didn't have the framework to make sure I had the consistency, and I was like, just make sure you're at least doing 2 hours a day. I did that every day. That's 49 out of 49. Nothing to compare to for the first quarter. For health, I had walking for 5 days out of the week. And then I did that the entire time, 5 times 7, 35, so I did 100%. We then have the long walk. I'm still tracking the long walk here, but I moved it. It's not under health, it's under personal, because as I talked about in my why I did 185 Insane, the long walk is something that I started doing because of dealing with grief and depression and sadness and melancholy and confusion and just my life kind of flipping on top of its head. So I needed something to help me get back in my body, and that's my long walk. So walking 4 miles 5 times a day is health stuff. That is how I stay healthy, how I make sure that I am moving, how I make sure that I'm getting my steps in, all that fun stuff. The long walks are for my mental health, so it goes under the personal section for me. And then eventually we'll get to, at the very end, at the end of the health section, I have my running, which is my hobby. So I have a lot of things that are movement based that have to do with my personal, my health, and like fun and entertainment. And we'll talk about some fun and entertainment in a little bit, because I need to add on to that. Then I have my Stanley, because I was supposed to be tracking my water intake. I hadn't really gotten into that for the first quarter, so couldn't track it at all. And then I said I can at least know that I drink 1 Stanley a day, plus my smaller 30-ounce one. And so I make sure that happens every day. And for that one, I struggled a little bit with that. Week 7, I made all 7 days, but on week 8, I only did 5. Week 9, I did 5. Week 10, I did 7, but week 11, I did 6. So I really started to kind of get more steady with it towards the end of this. Then, so for 44 per total of 44 out of 49, so I made it 89%. I'd like to get over 90% in the third quarter. For vitamins, I only have 1 day that I missed. That was that day that was super busy, and that day that I fell off and didn't follow my system, and that was on week 9, and so I managed 48 out of 49, so 97%. It'd be cool if I could do 49 out of 49 and 100% for the next quarter, but I'm not going to beat myself up about that one. Tuning forks was something I wanted to be tracking. I think that I'm testing out whether I feel like it's helpful or not. Once I got my system together, because week 7, 3 times, week 8, 1 time, week 9, 2 times, week 10, 5, week 11, 6, and then after that I did 7 and 7. Once I realized that if I just do my circuit, if I get up in the morning, I go on my walk or I go on my run, and then I make my little circuit around, I do my tuning forks, I come in, I get water, I get stuff for the cats, I go take my shower, I do my breakfast, and I do my vitamins. It was so easy because I have this routine and I just stick to that routine. So I make that goal so much more now, and the resistance, the issues that I was having with it just kind of melted away. So I'm keeping it with the tuning forks because I want to see if I can maintain that and see where that goes. Tuning forks, I had a total of 31 out of 49, and tuning forks was at 63%. It's one of my lowest ones. And so I really want to work on that, get that over maybe 85, I think would be great. For yoga, 2 times a month, I only did it once so far. And because the quarters don't necessarily go by month, I still have time to get in another one, but it would fall for the month, but it would fall into the third quarter. So right now we're only sitting at 50% for the yoga class. Then we have running for my hobby. I run 4 days out of the week, and I met all of those. 4 times 7 is 28, and I did 20 out of 28, 100%. I did not track running. I did not track Stanley, vitamins, tuning forks, yoga, or running in that first section. But I was aware that I wanted to do those things. I just wasn't tracking them. Finally, we have the personal section of 6, 8, 10, and 13.1, so a half marathon. But I found that I was really tired, and I think it's because of the running and the increasing in the running, the length of time that I'm running. So I did 4 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles, 6 miles, 8 miles, 5 miles, 10 miles. I did not do a half marathon at all in the second quarter. I'm supposed to do one this week. We'll see if that happens because I am again very tired. And for the quarter, I ended up doing a total of 47 miles. For the first quarter, I did a total of 45 miles, and in that one I did keep up with my system, so I just think it's kind of interesting. It was an extra week, so I had extra time to add on there, and I still did end up doing more miles during the second quarter than the first quarter. Then for my social medias before 9, I had a couple of hiccups in the beginning. I was really struggling with that, especially for the first quarter. First week, I had 6 days I did it, but on the second week I only did it 2, third 3 days, fourth 2 days, and then I got better once I got to the, that fifth week when I started really paying attention and getting serious. I improved to those 7 days out of 7. But even when I started for the second quarter on week 7, I only did 6, and week 8 I did 6, and another one, week 10 I did 6. So there's a couple of days I still sometimes end up finding myself on social media before 9 o'clock. So I'd really like to work on that. I'd like to get that up to the 49. I did 46 out of 49 this time. After 9, that one's always much easier for me. I did perfectly for the first quarter, but for the second quarter I had a couple of days where I was on after 9, and I ended up doing 47 out of 49 at about 95%. Reading every day. The reading one is the easy peasy one for me. I read every day. I was really struggling with that for the first quarter, but by the second quarter, I had got that together. So that one I'm not worried about. That one is super duper easy for me. I am always reading, and I share some of my book recommendations with you all. So for the second quarter, I feel pretty good. There are some improvements I'd like to make, as I said. One of the things that I know I want to add, though, for tracking in the third quarter is I have got to start going to bed by 10 o'clock. I have to. My sleep schedule is trash, and it is really impacting my overall ability to be able to show up and do the things I want to do. So I have to change my sleep schedule. That one is getting added in there. And then through my inner work, I don't track writing in my journal. I don't really see the point because I will write in my journal, and I'm pretty consistent with that. But I realize that I don't have enough play and entertainment in my life. And because of that, I self-sabotage to try to give myself some free time and then give myself like permission to go play, but then I don't go do it, and then I guilt trip myself. It's just this vicious cycle. So that has to change. 2 days out of the week, I spend at least an hour because I need to have something I can track. 2 days out of the week, 2 hours play, drawing, painting, a puzzle. I will write down what it is I choose to do, but I have to spend an hour doing it. So I'm adding those two under the personal. Will be sleep and will be play. I do have the research querying for my books, and I did do that once during week 13, and then an author event. I found one I can go to because there's a author's writing event at the Plot Twist, and so I can do that one on Fridays, but I have to find a couple of more. So that's going to be it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for stopping by. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all for week 14 update. I will have some book updates coming, and I will have some movie updates coming. So I'll see y'all later. Have a great one. Bye-bye.